Hello everyone, and I hope all of you are doing great out there and are having a pleasant good evening and day as you are listening to the Musical Circle. If you all are listening to the Musical Circle for the very first time, welcome aboard. Make yourself comfortable wherever you are, and thank you all for listening from either your phones, cars, computers, or televisions, or wherever and whichever you are listening to the Musical Circle. You are listening to episode 70, which means we are 5 episodes away from 75 and another 30 from episode 100, so we are quickly reaching that milestone, and it is not possible without all of you listening. Time flies by quickly, but that doesn't mean time can't slow down either along the way. I am glad to be here on your Thursday, the first day of May 1st, 2025. I am your host, Ben Charles, with the Musical Circle, with this week's episode 70, being titled Hard Work Pays Off. If any of you missed last Thursday's episode 69, which was titled Giving Back to Life, a great episode in its own right, which did get a good amount of support from a lot of you listening last Thursday, you all can find that episode on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, and YouTube Music as well, and through the website at rainbow-radio.co.uk. You can find every Musical Circle episode and content relating to the Musical Circle. You can all find it there for all of you to enjoy. A couple of you last week thought the show happened on Monday, which, by the way, I was laughing so hard because I was like, the show did not happen on Monday. The show did not happen on Monday. I was answering questions from last Monday at the time of this episode. And throughout that episode last week, I was giving you all a chance to know what I am like and who I am for the Musical Circle in general. So if you ever want to know what I do in my spare time or just with the Musical Circle overall, go listen to that episode last Thursday. I heard a good amount of you enjoyed what you heard last week, so go find it whenever any of you can. And no, ladies and gentlemen, we are not moving to Mondays anytime soon. That is not happening nowhere in the world. It's not happening. But yes. But anyway, I'm obviously very excited. We have a very good episode of the Musical Circle this week. We have a lot of new songs. We got a few debuts in the Under the Radar section, which is coming up later on. For those of you who don't know about the Under the Radar section, it is basically a section where we debut newer musicians, newer performers, and artists who may not get recognized worldwide or really don't be played often like on mainstream platforms or something like that. So that's why we try to incorporate that into the Musical Circle. And also the return, the long-awaited return of the Uptempo Bass section, a long forgotten section, which I did back in episode 40, I believe 44 or 45, one of those two episodes, but I do remember it was around the 40s. But I do remember that the Uptempo Bass section is basically drum and bass music and also rave music as well. That makes a return here in the Musical Circle, and we have a lot of new songs from a lot of people. James Arthur from his new album PISCES, that's coming up later. Sophie Ellis-Bextor has a new song this week. Gigi Perez dropped her new album, that's coming up later. And Sam Fender dropped a new song as well, that's coming up later on as well. We got a lot of stuff going on here with the Musical Circle, so let's kick it off, and we will begin the Musical Circle with our first section, the yearly jam section, highlighting newer music and songs so far from 2025 so far. Here is his newest song. At the time of this episode, this is Benson Boone's newest song, Mystical Magical.
There's nothing colder than your shoulder when you're dragging me along like you do. And then you switch up with no warning, and you kiss me like you want it. How rude, but I kinda like it anyways. I don't mind if this is gonna take a million days. I know you'll come around to me eventually. If you sit back, relax, enjoy my company. Once you know what my love's gonna feel like, nothing else will feel right. You can feel like moonbeam ice cream, taking off your blue jeans, dancing at the movies, 'cause it feels so mystical, magical, oh baby. 'Cause once you know my love is so mystical, magical, oh baby. 'Cause once you know my little heart to give, baby, I wanna give you the world. Not saying you gotta chase me, but I wouldn't mind it if you give me just a little bit of something we can work it with. But all you off your blue jeans, dancing at the movies, 'cause it feels so mystical, magical, oh baby. 'Cause once you know my love is so mystical, magical, oh baby. 'Cause once you know
And that was his newest song, Mystical Magical by Benson Boone, which I hope all of you enjoyed and had a good time with that song, Mystical Magical by Benson Boone, right here on the Musical Circle. That was just our first song on the Musical Circle, and you're in the middle of the yearly jam section of the Musical Circle, which is basically newer songs and songs that have been released so far in 2025, and I hope all of you enjoyed the song Mystical Magical by Benson Boone. We're going to go now into the next song, and this person was on the Musical Circle just last week, but he dropped another new album right after last week's episode. So this is from his newest album, which is called Withered. Please welcome back to the Musical Circle, D4BD, with his newest song, Is This Really Love?
Is this really love? If you don't say the word anymore, if I'm not enough, let me know where you find what you're looking for. I know it was fake to you, but it was real to me. Tried to stay the same for you, but you changed on me. You said that you never meant to hurt me, but baby I know this is how it goes. And if there is a world where you're not leaving, then darling I need to. Is this really love? If you don't
And that song that you all just heard here on the Musical Circle was the song Is This Really Love by D4VD, which I hope all of you enjoyed here on this episode of the Musical Circle with the song once again Is This Really Love by D4VD from his new album WITHERED, which dropped last Friday before this episode of the Musical Circle. Hopefully all of you enjoyed that song, and hopefully all of you are having a great time. We're 2 songs into the Musical Circle, and we're going to keep it going here on the Musical Circle with all of the new music. We're going to keep going as we will continue on into the next song, and this next song is a song that is not really getting talked about. She just dropped her new album, At the Beach in Every Life. She dropped this last Friday. We already played her other song, Sailor Song, and we played Fable on the Musical Circle before. I remember that. But we have not played her other song. This is one of her newest songs by Gigi Perez with her song, which is called Sleeping.
They cry, 'cause that's what they do. That's just the right thing to do. But you stay locked in your room, and the months turn into years. You couldn't list out all my fears, so I slipped into that pretty black mess. Sold my soul, and yeah, it made less than I knew I could get on for it. I was sleeping, I was snoring. They cheer, 'cause that's what they do. When you're happy for yourself, they'll be so happy with you, until push comes to shove and nobody is around, nobody offers any love. So I slipped into that pretty blackness, sold my songs back then. It made sense, but I knew I was so in for it. I was sleeping, I was snoring. Didn't meet me at the bar, didn't meet me in the rain, didn't meet me at the bar. You only drove me insane. Didn't meet me at the bar, didn't meet me at the rain, didn't meet me at the bar. You only drove me insane. When I slipped into that pretty blackness, sold my soul, and yeah, it made less than I knew I could get on for it. I was desperate, I was horrid when I slipped into that pretty black mess. Sold my soul back then. It made sense, but I knew I was so in for it. I was sleeping, I was snoring. Didn't meet me at the bar, didn't meet me in the rain, didn't meet me at the bar. You only drove me insane. Didn't meet me at the bar, didn't meet me at the rain, didn't meet me at the bar. You only drove me insane.
And that song that you all just heard on the Musical Circle was the song called Sleeping by Gigi Perez from her new album, at the Beach in Every Life by the singer known as Gigi Perez with her song called Sleeping, which I hope all of you had a good time with. Hopefully all of you enjoyed that song here on the Musical Circle. The last couple of songs have been relatively calm, but at the end of the day, it helps to have a little bit of calm before we go into all of the up-tempo stuff for a little bit. So hopefully all of you enjoyed that song, Sleeping by Gigi Perez. Hopefully all of you are awake and alive and well, hopefully, here on the Musical Circle. And we will go now into the return of one James Arthur. This is from his newest album called Pisces. He already has a couple of songs that have reached 1 million streams on YouTube with his song Embers, and then there's Karaoke as well, which is almost near 400,000, and then there's another song he has which is called ADHD, not All My Love. All My Love is good too, but ADHD is another good song as well. But this is the first song on that album from his album Pisces by James Arthur with his song called Summer.
And I've always been an arsonist. It's always been my party trick for warming up the darkness in my veins. And the carnival of narcissists come picking through the carcasses, and I don't want no part in it now. Shutter the windows, I feel the heaviness dripping from my eyelids. And outside the wind blows a glimpse of heaven on the edge of the silence. It could be the start of the summer. It could be the start of the summer. It could be the start of the summer. For all I know, for all I know. Yeah, I just don't know what's wrong with me.
You're just a Pisces. Stuck somewhere between fantasy and reality. And I look at that as a blessing.
Could be the start of the summer. If I let go of all I know. Could be the start of the summer. If I let go of all I know. Could be the start of the summer. Dripping from my eyes. Could be the start of the summer. Feeling on the edge of your silence.
And that song that you all just heard was the song Summer by James Arthur from his new album Pisces, just released last week before this episode of the Musical Circle. The first song on that album, Summer by James Arthur. Hope all of you enjoyed that song here on the Musical Circle. And we're going to wrap up and end the yearly jam section for this episode of the Musical Circle. For those of you just listening in, we are 4 songs into the Musical Circle. We just ended a part of the Musical Circle, and I will give you all a quick recap of the show so far, what we have played up to this point so far. We played the first song, Mystical Magical by Benson Boone. All 4 of these songs were newer songs and recent songs as well. Mystical Magical by Benson Boone was the first song. Is This Really Love by D4VD was the next song after that. That's from his new album, WITHERED. Go check that out if you have not already. The next song after that was Sleeping by Gigi Perez from her new album, At the Beach in Every Life, just also released last week. And the other song that you all just heard a moment ago, which was Summer by James Arthur. We're going to now go into the musical medley section, which is a combination of dance music, electronic music, techno music as well, and house music as well. So this is going to be a pretty interesting section for the musical circle. And we're going to begin the musical medley section with a song, another brand new song, just released last Friday before this episode of the musical circle. And she returns to the musical circle as well. Please welcome Sophie Ellis-Bextor with her newest song called Vertigo.
You got me shimmering, cloud dreaming, deep dive, blue swimming. Baby, I always wanna be cartwheeling, give me more of this feeling. You see, you got me like swirling, whirling down upside within the force field of your touch right now. You know I can't straight think I'll sleep at night. I'm at the mercy of the rush. Spinning in your eyes. Think you better know you give me vertigo. There's no stopping. Looking in your eyes. Think you better know. Give me that vertigo. There's no stopping. All of my senses right from start. All with the palm of my heart. You take me spinning in the eyes. Think you better know. You give me vertigo. Vertigo. You got me dazzling, freewheeling, cascade scene stealing. Baby, come on, disorient me in the blue screen green feeling. You see, you got me like swirling, whirling down upside within the force field of your touch right now. You know I can't straight think I'll sleep at night. I'm at the mercy of the rush. Spinning in the eyes. Think you better know. You give me vertigo. There's no stopping. Looking in your eyes. Dizzy in the know. Give me that vertigo. There's no stopping. All of my senses right from the start. All with the pull of my heart. You take me spinning in the eyes. Think you better know. You give me vertigo. All of my senses right from start. All with the pull of my heart. You take me spinning in the eyes. Think you better know. You give me vertigo. Vertigo. Hurricanes on jet planes, fly me there, anywhere. I'll roller coast, I'll scrape the sky, but only you has got me like swirling, whirling down upside within the force field of your touch right now. You know I can't straight think I'll sleep at night. I'm at the mercy of the rush. Spinning in the eyes. Think you better know. You give me vertigo. There's no stopping. Looking in your eyes. Dizzy in the know. Give me that vertigo. There's no stopping. All of my senses right from the start. All with the pull of my heart. You take me spinning in the eyes. Think you better know. You give me vertigo. All of my senses right from start. All with the pull of my heart. You take me spinning in the eyes. Think you better know. You give me vertigo. Vertigo.
And that was her newest song called Vertigo by Sophie Ellis-Bextor, which I hope all of you enjoyed here on this episode of the Musical Circle. You're in the middle of the musical medley section, and I hope all of you are having a good time as we will continue on with the good vibes here on the Musical Circle as always. And there's going to be a lot of dance music, especially with these next couple of songs here on the Musical Circle. So we're going to continue on right into the next song from 2012. This is Clarity by Zedd.
I dive into frozen
selfish pain, it was worth it every time. Hold still right before we crash, 'cause we both know how this ends. A clock ticks till it breaks your glass, and I drown in you again. 'Cause you are the piece of me I wish I didn't need. Chasing relentlessly, still fight, and I don't know why. If our love is tragedy, why are you my remedy? If our love insanity, why are you my clarity? Walk on through a red parade and refuse to make amends. It cuts deep through our ground and makes us forget all common sense. Don't speak as I try to leave, 'cause we both know what we'll choose. If you pull, then I push too deep and I'll fall right back to you. 'Cause you are the piece of me I wish I didn't need. Chasing relentlessly, still fight, and I don't know why. If our love is tragedy, why are you my remedy? If our love insanity, why are you my clarity?
And that song that you all just heard here on the Musical Circle with Ben Charles was the song called Clarity by the DJ and producer known as Zedd from 2012. Some of you may remember that from back in the day, but I hope all of you enjoyed it nonetheless. Clarity by the DJ and producer known as Zedd. Hope you guys like that song as you're in the middle of the musical medley section of the Musical Circle, and we're going to continue the good times and the good vibes as always here with the Musical Circle, and of course, we're going to continue with the dance music. So we're going to go on into the next song. This is from 2024. This is a song that I think one of my friends was listening to, I think a couple of weeks ago before this episode. I don't know, like, how did they come across it, but I do remember one of my friends, his name is Patrick, he was listening to this song, and it turns out that he likes this song. So I was like, you know what? Let me see if everyone else liked this song. So this is by Odin and Fatso. They're both DJ and producers as well, featuring the singer Poppy Bascombe with their song, which is called Tell Me What You Want.
Can you meet me in the middle? Love me just a little. I'm trying to solve the riddle of you. Oh, I'm deep within the feeling. Love just got me dreaming. The medicine I'm needing is you. Ooh. So let's get over being so shy, babe. Ooh. Let's get together, make it alright, yeah. So come over.
And that song that you all just heard here on The Musical Circle was the song Tell Me What You Want by Odin and Fatso, who are both producers and DJs, and also the singer Poppy Bascombe from 2024, which I hope all of you had a good time with. Hopefully all of you enjoyed that. A relatively short song, but I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless, called Tell Me What You Want by Odin and Fatso and Poppy Bascombe. Hope you guys like that song, as we're going to end the musical medley section of The Musical Circle with this next song that we are about to play as well. Another short song, but it is a banger nonetheless from 2023. This is by the DJ known as Fisher, featuring Keita Alexander with their song, which is called Atmosphere.
Think about you all the time. Late at night, you're on my mind. Always want you by my side. Babe, come on, what's up tonight? I could be your alibi. Always want you by my side. You got me spinning in your atmosphere. It feels so good, I wanna stay right here. you all the time. Day and night, you're on my mind. Always walking by my side. Tell me what you're thinking about. Something you can't live without. Got my head stuck in a cloud. Come me up or come around. Gravity can't bring me down. Got my head stuck in a cloud. You got me spinning in your atmosphere. You feel so good, I wanna stay right here. You got me spinning in your atmosphere. You feel so good, I wanna stay right here. You got me spinning in your atmosphere. You feel so good, I wanna
And that song that you all just heard here on the Musical Circle was the song called Atmosphere by Fisher and Keith Alexander from 2023. A banger, which I hope all of you enjoyed, and hopefully all of you had a great time with that song, Atmosphere by Fisher and Keith Alexander here on the Musical Circle. Thank you all for listening to the Musical Circle. We are 8 songs into the Musical Circle, and I am Ben Charles, your host of the Musical Circle. Thank you all for joining me, and wherever you may be listening to this episode of the Musical Circle. And we're going to continue on with the good vibes. But before we go to our next section of the Musical Circle, I'd like to mention a couple of songs that definitely deserve an honorable mention. Basically, songs that have been pretty much been released. So over the last week or so, it's been crazy just listening and finding songs from people that I already do listen to anyway, and other people really do listen to anyway. So I would like to mention all of the people who have recently have been dropping songs as of late. So here they are in order. The band Linkin Park dropped a new song. Kali Uchis dropped a new song. Jenny dropped a new song just recently. It's called Seoul City. I hope I got that pronounced correctly, but she did drop that. Lorde dropped a new song. She has a song called What Was That? Pink Pantheress has a new song called Stateside, and a couple of other great songs as well. So check those people out if you have not already. So there's a lot of good stuff right now. Right now, to be a music fan of any kind or any genre, anything. So it's a very good time around this time of the season to be a massive music fan. So that's what we do here. We try our very best here on the Musical Circle to introduce you all to newer songs. There's also bangers as well, and also some up-tempo stuff. And speaking of up-tempo, here is our next section of the Musical Circle, the long-awaited return of the up-tempo bass section, which is, as I said earlier on at the top of the show, is drum and bass and rave music all combined into one section of the Musical Circle. So this section, by the way, will get a special boost from being on the Musical Circle. So I hope all of you have a great time with this. Some of you out there may love some drum and bass music, so this will help out a lot. But right now we're going to play the next song. This came out back in February. This is the drum and bass version. The original version was done by Ian Van Dahl. Hopefully I got that correct. But this is the drum and bass version of the same exact song. This is the drum and bass version of Castles in the Sky by 1991, Subsonic, and Ian Van Dahl.
Do you ever question your life? Do you ever wonder why? Do you ever see in your dreams all the castles in the sky? Oh, tell me why. Do we build castles in the sky?
Tell me why.
And that song that you all just heard was the song Castles in the Sky by the drum and bass producers 1991, Subsonic, and Ian Van Dahl. That came out back in February of 2025, which I hope all of you enjoyed nonetheless. Once again, that was the drum and bass version of Castles in the Sky by, once again, 1991, Subsonic, and Ian Van Dahl. Hope you guys enjoyed that song in the Uptempo Bass section, which makes its long-awaited return here on the Musical Circle. So hopefully all of you are enjoying and are getting re-familiar with the section here on the Musical Circle. So we're going to go now into the next drum and bass song as well. This came out last Tuesday before this episode of the Musical Circle. This came out back on the 22nd of April. This is by another drum and bass producer, A Little Sound, with their song, which is called Override.
Late night, broken, now we're out in the open, and I feel it coming on. Softly spoken, we found gold in the moment, right back where we belong. Can we lose control, let the feeling multiply? When you wake me up, can you breathe me back to life? If we roll the dice, we could feel it twice, so high that we'll never come down. Come on, feed my soul, let the feeling override. Let it override, let it override, override. Let it over, let it over, let it override, let it override, override. Let it over, let it over. When you wake me up, can you breathe me back to life? If we roll the dice, we could feel it twice, so high that we'll never come down. Come on, feed my soul, let the feeling override. Let it override, let it override, override. Let it over, let it over, let it override. Let it override, override. Let it over, let it over.
And that song that you all just heard was the song which was called Override by the drum and bass producer A Little Sound, which I hope all of you enjoyed here on the Musical Circle as part of the Uptempo Bass section of the Musical Circle you all are listening to at this moment in time. Hope all of you enjoyed that song. Once again, Override by A Little Sound. And we're going to continue on with the amazing music here on the Musical Circle. And we still got a long way to go. We're not even done yet. But we're going to keep the bangers going here on this episode of the Musical Circle, as we're going to play the next two songs back to back. So we're going to play both songs from March of 2025. Both of them are. And this is their song, which is called Out of Body by Netsky and Andromatic. And then right after that is the next song by Makoto and Jamie McCool with their song called Free Yourself. Here's Out of Body by Netsky and Andromatic.
Body feelings got me up all night. I don't know how I'm breathing when I'm up this high. I take a leap
That was the song Out of Body by Netsky and Andromatic from March of 2025, and I hope all of you enjoyed that song as we head into the next song right away with the next song, Free Myself by the drum and bass producer Makoto featuring Jamie McCool.
Shadows on the wall, I see them shadows. Keep me from drowning. Are they gonna save me? Yeah. Shadows on the wall, I see them shadows. Keep me from drowning. Keep me from drowning. In the moonlight, in the nighttime, I'll be breaking out. Free myself away. Free myself. Gonna save me, yeah. Shadows on the wall, I see them shadows. Keep me from drowning, keep me from drowning.
And that song that you all just heard here on the Musical Circle was the song Free Myself by the producer Makoto featuring Jamie McCool. With that song came out in March of 2025, and I hope all of you enjoyed that song. And then the other song before that was the other song Out of Body by Netsky and Andromatic, also came out in March of 2025, which I hope all of you enjoyed. Those two great songs back to back. Hope you guys like that, and I hope all of you please continue on listening to Musical Circle. And there will be a lot more drum and bass music and a lot more rave music as the Musical Circle goes on throughout time. There's going to be a lot of that, so look out for that in the near future. So keep your ears and eyes open for the Uptempo Bass section here on the Musical Circle. That was once again Free Myself by Makoto and Jamie McCool. Both songs that I just mentioned will end the Uptempo Bass section of the Musical Circle, and it is now time for this week's edition of our Free Space song here for the Musical Circle. Now, for those of you who are newer listeners or returning listeners to the Musical Circle, here's how the Free Space song works. It is basically a song that is put in middle of all of our episodes except the showcase episodes and the bonus episodes and the live episodes. Obviously, those are entirely separate, different episodes all on its own. But the Free Space song is basically a song from any genre, from any period in time, and it can be anything possible. So this is going to be a very meaningful, I would say, a Free Space song for this week's episode of the Musical Circle. I like to tell you all a very quick story about this song before we play it. So, I remember when I was a kid, I don't know when I first heard this, but I do remember when I first heard it when I was a kid. I remember one of my friends, I think it was in grade 2, I think it was grade 2 or grade 3, one of those two. But I do remember one of my friends playing this song, and me actually hearing it for the very first time. I don't remember who it was from until I got older, but I do know that this song sticks out to me in my mind a lot. And for those of you who don't know this song, you all will get the golden opportunity to learn this song and most of all, enjoy this song. This is from their 2010 album called Plastic Beach. Please welcome the band Gorillaz with their song On Melancholy Hill. And that was this week's Free Space song for the Musical Circle with Ben Charles. Was the song called On Melancholy Hill by Gorillaz from the 2010 album Plastic Beach, which I hope all of you enjoyed, and hopefully all of you had a great time with that song. A very nostalgic, a very chill song, a very nice song here for all of you, and I hope all of you enjoyed it. On Melancholy Hill by Gorillaz was the song you all just heard a moment ago. Thank you all for listening to the Musical Circle. We are halfway through this episode of the Musical Circle. Also, don't forget everyone, we have merch available for the Musical Circle as well. For those of you who want to continue to support the Musical Circle, we have merch at merch.rainbowradio.uk. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have shorts also available. We got tumblers as well for those of you who love to run, love to jog out there. You know, there's a lot of people out there who definitely love to run, so it helps out a lot. Stay hydrated out there, and most of all, have yourself a good time. Hope you are comfortable with all of the merch and all of the clothes. Once again, that is merch at rainbowradio.uk. You all can find a nice little collection of clothes and merch for the Musical Circle. Thank you all so much for being here. As we head on into the next section of the Musical Circle, which is called the Under the Radar section, which is highlighting newer performers and newer musicians, and it is very important that the Musical Circle not only, let's just say, introduce you all to all of these newer performers and newest artists, but also people who are up and coming and on the rise, especially in the music industry, a very tough music industry that is to be in anyway. So it's very interesting where I get the chance to not only showcase all of these individuals and all of these people who will finally make their debuts and make their presence known on the Musical Circle. So here is the first song in this Under the Radar section. This is from their newest album called Glasgow Love Story. This is by the band known as Tide Lines. They are from the Scottish Highlands. That is over in Scotland. A very beautiful place, a very wonderful place to look at, a very wonderful place to be. But this is by the band Tide Lines with their song that we're going to play now, which is called Homeward Bound.
Every time I close my eyes, I'm walking west along that river shore, searching for the innocence I knew back when I was there before. And I still smell the blossom on the breeze where all the hawthorn trees had grown, holding tight to handlebars as it got dark and we were racing home. Homeward bound and not far left to go. That faraway horizon never taught me anything I didn't know. Homeward bound and not far left to go. Homeward bound and not far left to go. Long days in the summertime, just spending every hour as we choose. Foreign wars and credit scores were nothing but distractions on the news. Didn't know a thing about what lay beyond the mountains far away. Shortcuts through the fields and over fences in the last light of the day. Homeward bound and not far left to go. That faraway horizon never taught me anything I didn't know. Homeward bound and not far left to go. Homeward bound and not far left to. Homeward bound and not far left to go. That faraway horizon never taught me anything I didn't know. Homeward bound and not far left to go. Homeward bound and not far left to go. Sun beats through the window pane, it's just another autumn afternoon. But the roses on the table now are not as red as they were back in June. It helps me when I think that all the love you gave is etched upon my mind. And everywhere I go I know you're watching on a couple steps behind. Homeward bound and not far left to go. That faraway horizon never taught me anything I didn't know.
And that song that you all just heard was the song called Homeward Bound by the band Tide Lines. They are from Scotland. Check out their music if you have not already, and also check out their album Glasgow Love Story. There is a couple of songs that some of you may be interested in on that album. You guys will not be disappointed whatsoever, but I hope all of you enjoyed that song, which was once again the song Homeward Bound by the band Tide Lines from the country of Scotland. So check their music out if you have not already. They are a great band. You all are gonna love them, especially in the United Kingdom. Anyway, as we head on into the next song, and also she is making her musical circle debut on this episode. This came out, I believe, 3 weeks ago before this episode of the Musical Circle. This is from her latest EP, which is called Collector. She is from the States, and please welcome, and making her Musical Circle debut, please welcome Molly Francis with her song called Bullseye.
It's a game, feels like I'm losing. Go ahead and place your bet. One thing's for sure, if I don't do it, all I'll ever win is regret. I'm spinning around until I'm dizzy. Shoot my shot up in the darkness, but it's coming back, piercing through my own head. And when I made the wrong decision of the outcome, try to find something I love that doesn't waste my time. Waiting my turn, I'm standing in line to hit the bullseye. Bite my nails, counting the seconds until my perfect score. Eyes on the tally, I'm getting better, but I keep wanting more. There's a future I can see, lost on how to get there, but I know where I wanna be. Shoot my shot up in the darkness, but it's coming back, piercing through my own head. And when I made the wrong decision of the outcome, try to find something I love that doesn't waste my time. Waiting my turn, I'm standing in line to hit the bullseye. Do I get points just for trying? A gold star for surviving. Think I'll be happy when I reach the top, once I figure out where the line stops. Say I'm not scared, but I'd be lying, 'cause I'm shooting my shot up in the darkness, but it's coming back, piercing through my own head. And when I make the wrong decision of the outcome, try to find something I love that doesn't waste my time. Waiting my turn, I'm standing in line. I never went and never tried to hit the bullseye.
And that song that you all just heard here on the Musical Circle was the song which was called Bullseye by Molly Francis, who just made her Musical Circle debut on this episode. And I hope all of you had a good time with that song. A very nice, very chill song that you all just heard here on the Musical Circle. Once again with the song Bullseye by Molly Francis. And check out her EP, which is called Collector. Came out 3 weeks ago at the time of this episode, before this episode of the Musical Circle. And I hope all of you do check out her music and find her EP, which is called Collector. You guys will find some pretty interesting songs on there as well. And as I said, it was a pretty chill song, but I hope you guys liked it nonetheless. Anyway, as we will continue on into the Under the Radar section of the Musical Circle, for those of you just listening in, and for those of you just joining us here in the Musical Circle, we're going to now play the very next song in this Under the Radar section. So, this woman is from East London. I am not familiar with her like that, but I do know that she does have an EP, which is called The In-Between. This is the title track for that EP, which is going to be played here on the Musical Circle. Please welcome the debut of Miss Ella Jinks with her song called The In-Between.
in the in-between. And maybe I'll never leave. When moments feel so far apart, I'm not thinking with my head or my heart. I lie with my bad habits. They whisper, don't deal with it. The future's there for me to reach, but no one holds me back better than me. Like waiting on the sun to meet the moon someday. Like hoping for summer in the London rain. I'm looking for the words my body will obey. But the in-between is getting in the way. I listen but hear nothing. The quiet is deafening. Bad memories are on repeat, a parody of what I used to be. Like waiting on the sun to meet the moon someday. Like hoping for summer in the London rain. I'm looking for the words my body will obey. But the in-between is getting in the way. Like waiting on the sun to meet the moon someday. Like hoping for summer in the London rain. I'm looking for the words my body will obey. But the in-between is getting in the way.
And that song that you all just heard here on the Musical Circle with Ben Charles was the song called The In-Between by the singer Ella Jinx from East London, which I hope all of you enjoyed here on this episode of the Musical Circle. Ella Jinx, who just made her Musical Circle debut on this episode. Check out her EP, also called The In-Between. There's a couple of nice songs on there. There's another song that is slowly starting to gain traction streaming-wise, which is called Just Another Day. That's another good song on that EP, and that song also came out in January of 2025. So check out her EP, The In-Between by Ella Jinx. You guys will not be disappointed. Hope all of you like that song, which was once again The In-Between by Ella Jinx that we just played earlier. On to the next and last song in the Under the Radar section. This next song will be the title track to their upcoming album, which is coming out in June. Also will be called Almost Cove. This is the title track of that album, and they're making their Musical Circle debut on this episode. This is one of their latest songs. This came out last week before this episode of the Musical Circle. Please welcome the band known as Youth, making their debut with their song called Almost Cove. And that song that you all just heard here on The Musical Circle with your host Ben Charles for The Musical Circle was the song called Alma's Cove by the band known as Youth. That will be on their upcoming album in June, which is also going to be called Alma's Cove. Hope all of you had a great time with that song. A very chill song here on The Musical Circle. Once again, that was Alma's Cove by the band The Youth, and I hope all of you like that song here on The Musical Circle. We are almost done with this episode of The Musical Circle as we head into the next section called The Forgotten One section. This section debuted a couple of weeks ago on The Musical Circle on episode number 68, which all of you do need to go check out, by the way. And it's a pretty good episode in its own right. So this is a very good time to maybe rediscover some songs that may have been forgotten about by a lot of people, maybe. Who knows? Maybe by you, maybe by me. Who knows? But anyway, on to the next song that we're going to go to. This next song is from 2012. Nobody really remembers this song, but I do remember this song actually being pretty catchy. So we're going to play it here on The Musical Circle. This is from his album, Right Place, Right Time. This is by Ollie Murs with his song called Hand on Heart.
Come on, I'm right, I'm wrong, and when I'm wrong I say we always had the good and bad, and that will never change. This is the closest I've ever been, oh yeah. We give, we take, we mend, we break, and so this cycle goes. We're doing well, we've been through hell, and only heaven knows how far we get to. Thank God I met you though. And if you don't know, just put your hand on my heart. Put your hand on my heart. And I don't have to say it, and I don't have to fake it. Just put your hand on my heart. Put your hand on my heart. You know. Come on, cause you're the one that I want for myself. The strength you give, I wanna live inside our little shell. Nothing comes close to, nothing's supposed to, yeah. You have your doubts the same way I do. When you're out saving my love, that's the truth. Just put your hand on my heart. Put your hand on my heart. And I don't have to say it, and I don't have to fake it. Just put your hand on my heart. Put your hand on my heart. You know. When you don't feel that you're strong enough to make it, when life treats you hard, you don't feel you can take it. When you don't know where you stand, you're close to breaking. Just put your hand on my heart. Put your hand on my heart. Put your hand on my heart. And I don't have to say it, and I don't have to fake it. Put your hand on my heart. Put your hand on my heart. You know. Just put your hand on my heart. Put your hand on my heart. And I don't have to say it, and I don't have to fake it. Just put your hand on my heart. Just put your hand on my heart. And you know.
And that song that you all just heard here on the Musical Circle was the song Hand on Heart by Ollie Murs, which I hope all of you enjoyed here on this episode of the Musical Circle. That was from his 2012 album, Right Place, Right Time. A pretty solid album, to say the least. And I hope all of you enjoyed that song, Hand on Heart by Ollie Murs, right here on the Forgotten One section of the Musical Circle, one of our newest sections that just debuted a couple of weeks ago for the Musical Circle. And I hope all of you enjoyed that song, once again, Hand on Heart by Ollie Murs. On to the next song that may have been forgotten about by maybe some of you or maybe a lot of you here on the Musical Circle. This is from 2008. This is by Natasha Bedingfield with her song Pocket Full of Sunshine.
I got a pocket full of sunshine. I got a love and I know that it's all mine. Do what you want, but you're never gonna break me. Sticks and stones are never gonna shake me. Take me away, a secret place, a sweet escape. Take me away, take me away, take me away, to better days. Take me away, take me away, a hiding place. I got a pocket full of sunshine. I got a love and I know that it's all mine. Do what you want, but you're never gonna break me. Sticks and stones are never gonna shake me. Never gonna shake me. Never gonna shake me. I got a pocket full of sunshine. I got a love and I know that it's all mine. I know that it's all mine. Wish that you could, but you ain't gonna own me. Do anything you can to control me. You can't control me. No, you can't control me. Take me away, a secret place, a sweet escape. Take me away, take me away, take me away, to better days. Take me away, there's a place that I go that nobody knows, where the rivers flow, and I call it home. And there's no more lies, and the darkness is light, and nobody cries. There's only butterflies. Take me away, a secret place, a sweet escape. Take me away, take me away, to better days. Take me away, take me away, a hiding place. Take me away, a secret place, a sweet escape. Take me away, to better days. Take me away, a hiding place. I got a pocket full of sunshine. I got a love and I know that it's all I know. Take me away, I got a pocket full of sunshine. I got a love and I know that it's all I know. Take me away, a hiding place. The sun is on my side and takes me for a ride. I smile up to the sky, I know I'll be alright. The sun is on my side and takes me for a ride. I smile up to the sky, I know I'll be alright.
And that song that you all just heard here on the Musical Circle was the song Pocket Full of Sunshine by Natasha Bedingfield from 2008, which I hope all of you enjoyed here on this episode of the Musical Circle. That was the second song on her album, also is called Pocket Full of Sunshine. I don't know if people have forgotten about that song particularly, but I do know that within the parameters of this section, it has been kind of been washed away a little bit by, a lot of newer music lately. So it's only fair that we bring it back here on the Musical Circle. So that was the song, once again, Pocket Full of Sunshine by Natasha Bedingfield. On to the next song that we will go to. This next song may be very recognizable but people forget about maybe how impactful this actually was. But this is catchy, I'll say this, and it's a good song. It's for all of you all here for the Musical Circle. So we're gonna play it now. This is simply put, "Keep Your Head Up" by Andy Grammer.
I've been waiting on the sunset, bills on my mindset. I can't deny it, getting higher, higher than my income. Income's breadcrumbs. I've been trying to survive. The glow that the sun gets right around sunset helps me to realize that this is just a journey. Drop your worries, you are gonna turn out fine. Oh, you turn out fine. Fine, oh, you turn out fine. But you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. You gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. I know it's hard to remember sometimes, but you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey, 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 hey. I got my hands in my pockets, kicking these rocks. It's kinda hard to watch this life go by. I'm buying into skeptics. Skeptics mess with the confidence in my eyes. I'm seeing all the angles, thoughts get tangled. I start to compromise my life and my purpose. Is it all worth it? Am I gonna turn out fine? Oh, you turn out fine. Fine, oh, you turn out fine. But you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. You gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. I know it's hard to remember sometimes, but you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey, hey, hey. Only rainbows after rain, the sun will always come again, and it's a circle, circling around again. It comes around again. I say only rainbows after rain, the sun will always come again, and it's a circle, circling around again. It comes around, but you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. You gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. I know it's hard to remember sometimes, but you gotta keep your head up, oh, and you can let your head down, hey. And keep your head up, and you can let your head down. And keep your head up, and you can let your head down. And keep your head up, and you can let your head down. Listen, oh, no, 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 no.
Man, the vibe on that one was crazy. I hope all of you enjoyed that song right here on the Musical Circle. I am Ben Charles, your host of the Musical Circle, and that was the song "Keep Your Head Up" by the singer Andy Grammer from his 2011 album. His very first album also is called Andy Grammer. That was the very first one that he ever did. The song originally actually came out in 2010, but also was put on his first album, 2011, Andy Grammer with his song "Keep Your Head Up." Hope all of you enjoyed that song. And remember, in this world, life is very hard. Life is going to be very difficult. Maybe for some of you, if not most of you already. But at the end of the day, we all have to push through. We all must be grateful for the life that we all live. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what nobody tells any of you. I want all of you to know from the bottom of my heart, I care about every single one of you. And most of all, you all are welcome here on the Musical Circle without any exception whatsoever. You all are welcome and you all are loved. So just remember that as we continue with the Musical Circle. As we continue on with the last section in the Forgotten One section of the Musical Circle. This is from 2012 as well. This is from their album Overexposed. This is by Maroon 5 with their song called Daylight.
Here I am waiting, I'll have to leave soon. Why am I holding on? We knew this day would come, we knew it all along. How did it come come so fast. This is our last night, but it's late, and I'm trying not to sleep, 'cause I know when I wake I will have to slip away. And when the daylight comes I'll have to go, but tonight I'm gonna hold you so close, 'cause in the daylight we'll be on our own, but tonight I need to hold you so close. Ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh, oh. Here I am staring at your perfection in my arms, so beautiful. The sky's getting bright, the stars are burning out. Somebody slow it down, this is way too hard, 'cause I know when the sun comes up I will leave. This is my last glance, that will soon be memory. And when the daylight comes I'll have to go, but tonight I'm gonna hold you so close, 'cause in the daylight we'll be on our own, but tonight I need to hold you so close. Ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh, oh. I never wanted to stop, because I don't wanna start all alone, but start all alone, but I was afraid of the dark, but now it's all that I want, all that I want, all that I want. And when the daylight comes I'll have to go, but tonight I'm gonna hold you so close, 'cause in the daylight we'll be on our own, but tonight I need to hold you so close. And when the daylight comes I'll have to go, but tonight I'm gonna hold you so close, 'cause in the daylight we'll be on our own, but tonight I need to hold you so close. Ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh, oh,
And that song that you all just heard was the song called Daylight by Maroon 5, which I hope all of you enjoyed here on this episode of the Musical Circle. That was from 2012 from their album Overexposed, which I hope all of you had a good time with that song Daylight by Maroon 5, as we're going to end the Forgotten One section of the Musical Circle here for this episode of the Musical Circle, as we are winding down and getting closer to the end of this episode of the Musical Circle. So we only now have one more section to go, and it is pretty simple. It is going to be the last section of this episode of the Musical Circle. This next section is called the rock section, which is basically rock music, to make a long story short. So we're going to have a lot of fun, especially with these next couple of songs and with the end of the Musical Circle, because I do have a very special reason why the final two songs in the Musical Circle are actually being played, and they're going to be played here on the Musical Circle. So we're going to go now into a throwback rock song. This is from the 80s, from their 82 album called Blackout. This is by the rock band known as Scorpions, with their song No One Like You.
strong enough to describe all my longing for love. I don't want my feelings restrained. Ooh, babe, I just need you like never before. Just imagine, get through the storm. You take all my sorrow away. There's no one like you. I can't wait for the nights with you. I imagine the things we do. I just wanna be loved by you. No one like you. I can't wait for the nights with you. I imagine the things we do. I just wanna be loved by you. No one like you. I can't wait for the nights with you. I imagine the things we do. I just wanna be loved by you. No one like you. I can't wait for the nights with you. I imagine the things we do. I just wanna be loved by you.
And that song that you all just heard here on the Musical Circle with Ben Charles was the song called No One Like You by the rock band Scorpions from their 1982 album Blackout, which I hope all of you had a good time with that song. No One Like You by the rock band Scorpions here in the rock section of the Musical Circle. We have 3 more songs to go, and we still got a couple of nice music here for all of you here on the Musical Circle. So this next song also was released last week before this episode. I mentioned him earlier at the beginning of this episode. Sam Fender's newest song. This is his newest song now that we're going to play here on the Musical Circle, which is called Tyrants by Sam Fender.
Jiminy crickets whisper to me, steering me away from the road. Oh, Fortuna's wheel I'm running,
And that was Sam Fender's newest song that you all just heard here on the Musical Circle, called Tyrants by Sam Fender. Just dropped last week before this episode of the Musical Circle, and I hope all of you had a good time with that song. Once again, called Tyrants by Sam Fender, right here on the Musical Circle. We have 2 more songs to go before the end of this episode of the Musical Circle, and both songs are by the same exact band, and there is a reason for that, because 11 years ago, there was an album that was released by this specific band, which is called Ghost Stories. We're going to play 2 songs from that exact album, and I will explain that reason in just a little bit, but we're going to play a song now from the album Ghost Stories from 2014 by Coldplay with their song A Sky Full of Stars.
Cause you're a sky full of stars. I'm gonna give you my heart. Cause you're a sky full of stars. Cause you light up the park. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do. Cause in the sky full of stars, I think I saw you. Cause you're a sky full of stars. I wanna die in your arms. Cause you get lighter the more it gets dark. I'm gonna give you my heart. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do. Cause in
And with that song called A Sky Full of Stars by the band Coldplay from their 2014 album Ghost Stories, which in 2 weeks from now, on the 16th of May, it will celebrate its 11-year anniversary, and time indeed does fly by quickly because we have unfortunately run out of time for episode number 70 of The Musical Circle. If any of you missed a song or two or missed the entire episode, you can find this episode on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, the Rainbow Radio Wells app, and on rainbow-radio.co.uk. And you can find our merch as well at merch.rainbowradio.uk. We have a lot of nice stuff for all of you for The Musical Circle, and you can also find it on YouTube and YouTube Music if possible and if absolutely necessary. But I hope all of you had a great time with this episode of The Musical Circle. Thank you all for listening to The Musical Circle as we continue on the road to 75 episodes of The Musical Circle. Our next episode of The Musical Circle will happen on the 8th of May, which will be our next show, and on that show, there will be no sections at all next week. I will give the sections a break, and we might be live for that show next Thursday, so look out for that. But episode 72 on the 15th of May, that will be a special themed showcase episode of The Musical Circle. I already talked about this in the beginning of this episode, actually, a little bit, but I did want to mention it here just in case if all of you have forgotten by now. But I want to tell you all this. In 2 weeks, on the 15th of May, that will be an all jazz only episode of The Musical Circle. Jazzy Checkpoint 3 is coming, is on the way. It's going to be great. I cannot wait for that. And also, on the 24th of May, on that Saturday afternoon, mark this down, the 24th of May, there will be another Musical Circle bonus episode. And for those of you who actually don't know about these bonus episodes, they are a part of a series of bonus episodes, which are called Musical Mixtapes. That will be on the 24th of May. At those episodes, as per rule, won't actually be on the air. However, it will be on streaming. We had our 5th one back in February of this past year. So Musical Mixtape 6 is coming on the 24th of May. I will reveal the date for the next one, which would be number 7, right before that episode ends. So I hope all of you join me and everyone at The Musical Circle for that as well. Write that down on your calendars. It's going to be a crazy month for the month of May for The Musical Circle. It's going to be fantastic, and I hope all of you join me for next week and the weeks to come. We do have one more song we will play on The Musical Circle, which is also from the same album as the last song, Ghost Stories by Coldplay, with their other song that is called Magic. Enjoy this song, Magic by Coldplay, and on behalf of everyone that is a part of The Musical Circle, until next Thursday on the 8th day of May, I am Ben Charles, the host of The Musical Circle. See you all again next Thursday. Take care, be safe, be happy, and most of all, stay humble. Remember, hard work pays off in the end, and it always will. And as always, I wish you all love and a good life wherever you are and wherever worldwide you may be.
Call it magic, call it true. ask me, after all that we've been through, still believe in magic? Well, yes I do.